Back to the Northland Sports Page, hour number 2. Time for the Minnesota Vikings all-time defensive fantasy draft. But before we dive into that, Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook, Topher Davis, when you talk about defense and playing it well, little something happened after we wrapped up our show last week. According to the world of hockey, UMD not only has the best defenseman, but the best overall player. Hobey Baker Award winner Scott Perunovich. Fun Saturday night last week to get that done and to get that into his trophy case, if you will. And the Bulldogs had another one. Hobey Baker U continues.
Listen to that, Hobey Baker University. We had a conversation before the election, and we said, or the selection, I guess, and said, sometimes you just have to vote for the it factor, right? And the guy from out east, whoever that is that didn't win, Prudhomme has the it factor. I mean, wherever he went, things happened. And I think that's what the St. Louis Blues like about him, too, is that, he's going to go there and he's going to catapult them to win, even though he's 5'0" and weighs 100 something nothing. He is the guy with the it factor.
He's an incredible player, and he's a guy that has been hyped up since 6th, 7th grade. And he's someone that in this area has just been built up as to be the it guy. And it's hard for those guys to carry that kind of pressure and to perform. And he's found a way to do it. And especially to decide to go to the hometown school at UMD and have that pressure built up. And he, the kid from Hibbing, he's done it. He's performed at every level that he's been able to. His 3 years at UMD, 2 national championships and a Hobey Baker Award are not too shabby. So certainly hats off to Scott Perunovich. He's got a bright future ahead of him. It will be interesting to see how he translates to the next level. But the NHL game has proven that that the smaller defensemen do have a spot now that maybe they wouldn't have had in the early 90s or the 80s game. But he's a very good player. I think he's got a very bright future. And he's going to a great organization, obviously, the defending Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah,
it's a little odd to come out of college hockey. I don't know how many players could say this. Maybe nobody who's come out of college hockey having never lost an NCAA tournament game before, because Scott Perunovich has that on his billing, if you will. It's a selection of the Hobey Baker that Duluthians, Northlanders will love. Hockey purists that see the game in its entirety will love. Those that read stats probably won't, because they're going to look at the eye-popping North Dakota stats, the great goaltending for the kid out east, and go, well, how did this Perunovich character get it? Well, this Perunovich character was the guy that played the full 200-foot game to the best of his and to the best of anybody's ability. It's been fun to see the people that know the sport the best respect that. But you know me, I like to not troll, but at least scroll on Twitter and just giggle a little bit. Man, it was controversial to say the least, not in the minds of many experts, but in the minds of the casual fans. Not that North Dakota has lost gracefully in hockey ever before anyway. Even the Gopher guy can admit to that.
Yeah, I can admit to that. I think that if you're a college hockey fan and you watch and not just watch a team, I mean, again, we're talking to the Gopher fan here, right? Perunovich was easily, in my opinion, easily the choice. The goaltender for Maine has his own award, right? So the best player in the game was just given the Hobey.
No question about that. And people have talked about, is he the best defenseman to play for UMD ever? Pre-Hobey Baker, that discussion was happening. Pre-Hobey Baker, I dismissed it, and I went, well, unless Tom Curvers didn't play and we wiped his resume away, there's not a contest. Now that they're both Hobey winners, it's tougher to answer. I mean, we're going to do a draft here, and I'll go more to Topher because he's followed it as long as I have, if not longer, in terms of the depth of his UMD hockey knowledge. But if you're drafting a decor for all-time Bulldogs, Scott Perunovich, Tom Curvers, Brett Hauer, Justin Falk, Neil Pionk. I mean, it's
a dumb kid. Come on.
Yeah, there's some very good players to choose from there. If you're going to pick the top defenseman from UMD of all time, obviously, I still think it's the debate between Curvers and Perunovich now, and Perunovich put himself in that conversation. I think maybe part of it's going to be a little bit, what he ends up going to do a little bit. Curvers is still held in pretty high regard, and plus he's got the local connection still helping out, with the Wild. But it'll be interesting to see what Perunovich is able to go do on the next level. I think Justin Falk was elevated a little bit because of his success in the National Hockey League still now. and I think that's helped them because he was at UMD for a short period of time as well, but
Right.
helped them bring their first national championship too.
Will Carson Soucy be elevated? His career was not brief per se, but he's the one of us on the big club and starting to contribute. Will he start to be elevated as that pro career continues to blossom? That's the question. Can you remember, just like we're trying to do with some of these all around veterans that may have played elsewhere? Can you remember as you're drafting, what did they do for that specific team? Because for UMD, it should be Curvers and Prudhomme and then pretty much the rest. Dave, I don't want to phase you out, but let's just give the Hermantown kid his moment in the sun here because as we look at the week that was, basically the whole town joined the Bulldogs for next year. I'll let you touch on that as well.
How about that? I do think that the one that we're overlooking is going to be the one that has the greatest impact, and that's Goats. Darian Goats is one of those. He's going to be the perfect guy to take the mantle from. The group. I mean, look at all the defensemen you guys listed, by the way, from the last 5 years. He's going to be a perfect guy to give that to. He's going to be a captain. He's going to be that kind of material. He is going to be the perfect partner for Pierce when Pierce gets there. I know that everybody wants to talk about Biondi, and yes, he's talented as can be. He's the guy that you say, well, he scored a lot of points against single A teams. Let's see how he does, but every week is against a superstar team. But Darian Goats is the real McCoy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It was a big week with both Darian Goats and Blake Biondi signing their national letter of intent to join UMD next season, along with Wyatt Kaiser from Andover making it official that he will be joining him as well. And I think you talk about, when Scott was giving his post-Hobey, Prunovich was giving his post-Hobey Baker Award interviews, he talked about how good Coach Sandelin and Coach Herter are at developing defensemen and how good they are at working defensemen. And when you look at the defensemen that have the names we were just throwing around, I mean, a few years ago, we were talking about how, shallow they were at the defenseman pool. And now look at, they keep turning these guys out. And so when Darian Goats gets into that system, I agree with you, Dave. I think he's going to have a huge impact. I think he'll have an impact earlier than Biondi will. I think because of the type of game that he can play, he'll have the ability to step in there earlier and make a big impact. Biondi is going to be a great player. He's obviously has the UMD lineage with his father, Joe, having played at UMD as well. And he's got that Mr. Hockey label as well. And I know that he put up some big numbers this year, and he's going to end up being a very talented player. But it'll be interesting to see a player of his caliber, how he fits in with, more talented players around him as well.
Yep. His expectation level is also through the roof. So he could be a good college hockey player. And people are going to say, well, gosh, he was Mr. Minnesota, this, that, and the other. And he's the one I'm most interested to watch because we've seen his talent, but we also know that, a lot of those goals were scored against Greenway before Greenway was any good. And, the storm, the Northern Storm, while we like the kids from Silver Bay and everything, it's just a different level, right? So
it is, but it's a level that a lot of people have succeeded at before. But you make a good point with the Mr. Hockey label because I look at Blake Biondi and he's going to come in with similar expectations like Riley Tufte had. And Riley Tufte played at Blaine at the AA level. And, you maybe can't say who did they play quite as much. And really with Hermantown, you can't say it anymore because their regular season schedule mixes in plenty of AA talent too. I just hope that Blake doesn't end up the way Riley Tufte did. Now, granted, he's got a pro career to build on as well. But if you talk to most Bulldog fans, Riley Tufte didn't live up to Riley Tufte collegiately. Blake Biondi probably can.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Biondi hasn't played tough teams. I'm saying that his ridiculous goal numbers were padded. He's a heck of a hockey player. That is not my point whatsoever. It's just our expectations of the 100-goal scorer. That's going to be the tough one to meet.
It'll be interesting. I think, I almost equated a little bit to tie in both of your guys. Dave Spihar a little bit, his expectations going from high
Let's
school.
Let's hope he doesn't go that direction. And I love Dave.
Exactly.
Dave was one of my very best friends, but we all know how the collegiate career went. The only thing I can say there is I didn't mind not rooting for him when he was in college because we all know where he went.
Exactly. And I hope it doesn't turn out that way. But I also think that, Spihar's collegiate career wasn't necessarily terrible. It just didn't meet the expectations that he had coming in from his absolutely phenomenal high school career at the Duluth East.
The other thing you can say about Spee is you had a coach that maybe didn't quite know how to use him. Scott Sandelin basically rehearses the Hermantown way, lives by it. It's going to be easy.
let me know when they put Biondi in a spot that he's not played. You know, when they run him behind the net and just have him stand there, or let him play the defensive forward like Woog did to Spee.
And then one last thing with the Bulldogs, because everybody says when you're replacing a roster, you need to, do a hockey team when you're building it from the back end out. Anybody notice that just like when the Bulldogs had to go from Miska to Shepard, that, oh, by the way, there's a kid coming in that was a pretty good goaltender for Grand Rapids again. I know that the local sports anchors can't say his name correctly, but I think that has more to do with where they're from. But Mr. Stayskull, that's how you say it, was a pretty good goaltender as well. Maybe is deja vu all over again, to quote Yogi, and the Bulldogs are going to be just fine everywhere.
Stayskull's a big kid too. I mean, that's one thing he has in spades is height, and we haven't seen that for a while.
All right, so talking
It
a
will
little bit
be.
about. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead. But yeah, the defense, obviously, goaltending is going to be a huge question mark for UMD. I think it'll be similar to a few years ago where we see a rotation really of all three guys getting some time in the net and to see who runs away with it. And if Stayskill's that guy, he's proven he can be that guy. But I think the other two are going to get an opportunity as well.
They got to sign Clafton already, right? They got to chase him down wherever he's at because they need the next Grand Rapids goalie.
There you go. Or how bad would somebody like Logan Wright be from the Raiders of Greenway at Coleraine? He was fine as well. Get those range goalies and just keep them coming. So talking a little bit about defense, UMD technically still the defending champions in college hockey. Thank you, COVID-19, for that. But as we talk about defense, I opened this hour by saying it would be our fantasy draft for the all-time Minnesota Vikings defensive teams. And without further ado, we will do that as well. This one will probably be a little bit lengthier because, quite frankly, we have more positions to fill. We are going to do players by each of the starting positions. So you've automatically got 11. We are not doing D lines the way you would do O lines and just pick the year, which, by the way, for anybody wondering, Dave and I ended up with the exact same offensive line. We just switched the year. I took one more year under their belt. But I digress. So we are going to go with you've got 2 starting defensive ends, 2 starting defensive tackles, 3 linebackers, which, newsflash, might get a little weak as we keep going. And I'm not talking weak side linebackers. I'm talking about look at the history of Viking linebackers. 2 corners, 2 safeties. The one rule that will break a little bit, and Vince Glenn could come on the show and give us a diagnosis of where we went wrong. We are not going to make you designate between free safety and strong safety. You got a safety, make sure you hopefully get 2 good ones. We did add during our little break between hour 1 and hour 2, though. We're going to get into the special teams with the defensive draft, just as we did on offense with the kicker. We are going to take a punter, and we are going to take a return man. And we're going to keep the same order. Everybody said, well, Brian, are you sure you want to go last again? And I said, sure, why not? Because then I have an excuse when it doesn't go well. So again, without further ado, Topher Davis, you're on the clock to kick off the defensive draft.
You got this. I think the first overall pick is obviously the most difficult one because it leaves open for all the other, speculation, especially if we're going defense here. Such a wide range. But I'm going to go ahead and fill a defensive tackle spot right away. I'm going to take Hall of Famer John Randall.
That's who I thought was going to go first, only because of who had the first pick. That's who I thought was going to go first.
Okay, I'm surprised and I'm thankful.
I think I know who's going second now too.
Because I'm filling the other guy. I'm taking Page.
Yeah, he was my other guy also because obviously the honorable Alan Page. He's a legend in more ways than one. They didn't make a movie about Alan Page. I would watch that for sure.
Fair. No shock that D linemen are going like hotcakes. Ah, boy. And I've got 2 picks, and the problem is I've got 2 picks, and I've got 3 linemen going through my head. Oh boy. I wish I knew far and away that there was a number 1 linebacker that was better than everybody else, and I just get him now. But they're all meh. I'm gonna go
with
no. I'm gonna fill both defensive end spots and be disappointed because I'm gonna leave one personality that I love that I'm not gonna take. But I'm gonna take Chris Dolman, and I'm gonna take Carl Eller.
Good call.
What do you think, Dave?
Good call.
I think that you have the defensive ends that everybody who's a Viking fan should want.
Almost. There's one obvious one for the younger core.
Right, that's what you've done. You've left the younger course a player.
I've left the younger core's top 3 out there, basically.
Yeah.
If I could convert people to linebacker, I'd do it now.
Right, but that's why I asked 4-3-3-4 earlier. Dang. Let's see. There's a bunch of good defensive tackles left, so I don't think I'm going to go there right off. I think that I need to take what I consider to be the best cornerback out there, and I'm going to take Antoine Winfield.
Yep. Okay. Knew that wasn't going to be available long. See, my problem is I know a lot about the Purple People Eaters. Beyond that, when you get towards the back end of those early day defenses, my knowledge is a lot more limited. And I don't know, we're at our respective homes. I don't know if you guys are looking at Google, looking at anything. I'm looking at my Gatorade bottle. That's it.
I have a handwritten note. That's how old I am.
Which only means which only means we're on the air. We want every sense of normalcy we can get. If Dave's writing stuff, congratulations, it's a show.
Yep, Toph's got the Google document all spread out, and
I wish. I feel like I'm going to be missing some guys for sure in this one, but just trying. I've got some notes written down here, and I'm also just trying to keep track of who's been picked or not, because I feel like that's going to end up bubbling away. You've got everyone covered.
Toph, I can help you.
Perfect. I am with Antoine Winfield going. Who do I got? John Randall's my only guy so far. I'm gonna go with what your guy Brian you left out there. I'm gonna go with Jared Allen.
Yep. I would have won large amounts of money as I could have bet on who Topher's pick was going to be. Because when I said I have 3 defensive ends in mind and I only get to pick 2, that was the other one.
Going Jared Allen there. And
you got to love Topher's line right now. He's got Randall and Allen. I want to be in that locker room.
Yeah, that they're going to have a good time for sure. Right. You know what? I'm going to go with the linebacker. You mentioned linebackers is no one's really.
I'm not trying to rip the real good ones, but there aren't,
No,
there aren't legendary names there.
There aren't.
Not really, no.
And we are not, to be clear, we are not deciphering weak, middle, and strong, are we? We're just playing 3 linebackers?
No, right. I think we have to go.
Kind of thought Topher's vote for no would be rather quick and resounding, yes.
Yes, absolutely. No, I don't want to have to break down all that.
We can deep dive on Thursday when Dave can give you the story on the 6th round linebacker out of Alabama A&T.
There we go. I'm going to go with friend of show, cornerback Carl Lee.
God, I'm actually really upset right now. was just sitting there waiting to take that guy.
He's a tackling machine.
That was my number 2 corner far and away. So my corners automatically suck because you guys got the 2 best.
So
there we go. So back to you, Dave.
The guy I want to take is there, but he's in a position of great depth. So I don't think I can take him right this second.
If you see your guy, take your guy.
I know, go get your guy, right?
Exactly.
The thing is, while he might be the next best, the guys right after him are, if not equal, very, very close.
Come on, Denny, best available already. By the way, are we picking are we picking coaches as we did managers?
Don't say anything, Toby. We did. You were gone.
Lips are sealed.
So
if it helps, we gave you Mike Tice.
I was gonna say, did I end up with less Steckel? Apparently, I did better than I thought I would.
He had to be there more than 1 year. Remember?
Yeah. I didn't get Chili. Thanks.
Nope. Chili didn't make the cut.
We talked about him for you.
Doggone it, guys.
The kick-ass offense.
All right. I am also then going to go and try to cherry pick a weak group and take Chad Greenway.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
Fill
I
out
would
your
say
lineup.
I'm sure he's thrilled with how high he went in this draft, but again, it's a positional thing.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really one other guy, and then it just kind of goes. Well, no, there's 4 other guys, I suppose, if you want to count the 2 guys now.
Yeah, you may have enticed me to start filling this a little bit because I've got 2 picks, and I might just, even though there's no way in the rankings of defensive players that either of them would be this high, I might just take 2 linebackers to feel a little bit better about them. I'll take Scott Studwell.
Studwell.
And I will take Ed McDaniel.
Ooh.
Ooh, boy. Good call.
Can I ask you this? Is Studwell overrated because of how long he's been in the organization? Because when I grew up, when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, he was the linebacker that anyone talked about.
I do not think when you look at our group of linebackers that he's overrated. Just don't think that at all. I think he is that guy. Dang though. So you got those 2. So there's 3, in my opinion, that are left.
My cornerbacks are going to be just awful. I just can't even.
Cornerbacks in general are just going to be awful.
Yeah, it's just. I mean,
yeah.
Do you take the guy from Topher's pseudo alma mater who was pretty good until recently?
Do we take the coach now, because taking the coach now impacts who my next player is going to be?
Nah, we do it like we do the baseball draft. We take the coaches last.
Yep.
All right, so that means I think I might have to take him anyway. I'm taking Anthony Barr.
Dang it. I was hoping he'd be my Mr. Irrelevant.
There you go. That's a good pick.
The linebackers stink. Our linebackers stink.
The current ones actually don't. It's the history that kind of does.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that I'm on the all lightweight team here. Page is not the heaviest guy. So Anthony Barr is the heaviest guy on my team right now. Because Page played tackle at about 250. Barr plays about 250. Greenway and then Winfield. I got to get a defensive tackle that can stuff the run.
There you go.
Well, Ed McDaniel's not exactly large for a linebacker either, so I'm just
Ed McDaniel. Yeah. So who are the linebackers that have been taken, Dave? You just took
Greenway, Barr, Studwell, and McDaniel.
Okay. I'm taking Jack Del Rio.
Nice.
Right now. I'm taking him, getting that one off the board, get one of those linebacker spots filled.
Is that a guy who's arguably better with the Vikes than he was anywhere else?
Yes.
I would say so too.
Yeah. I think so. And then I'm going to go with I'm going to break Brian's heart again. Henry Thomas.
You know, that doesn't bother me that much. I'd rather just be his drinking partner, I guess, than have the pressure of having him on my team.
Isn't that that's why I haven't made my pick yet.
And by no means does that mean I don't want him, but defensive tackle is kind of loaded too.
It's the deepest position in their team's history, that and wide receiver.
Probably.
Yep. You're not wrong.
Well, and DN, because we've already picked 3, and I can think of at least 3 or 4 more.
Can you?
I would include the 2
good ones out there.
I would include the 2 from last season in that mix.
Yeah, and I think
I
think that's where I'm going. I'm going to go with Hunter.
Nice. Topher, you taken 2 already? You took Henry and who else?
Yeah, I took Jack Del Rio.
Okay, that's right. I got a good memory. It's just short.
No problem.
You're up, right?
So I'm up for Hunter. 2. If I could even think of a corner, I would take one, but I'm having a really hard time. Right. He was fairly good when he was here, actually. I'm going to take Dwayne Washington.
Oh, that's on my list. Very nice.
Dwayne Washington. That's a good call.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of
That's a
good
good call.
safeties, but I like this guy the most. He might not be the
Darren
best
Sharper.
one, but no. There's a whole different. I'm not gonna let anybody in that locker room unless we change our uniform color to orange. But there are a lot of good safeties, and this guy just was my personal favorite. He might not be the best, but he's in the top 4 at least. I'll take Joey Browner.
Oh, you took Browner. All right.
Joey Browner. All right.
Okay. So that means I need to get Brian's other favorite, I think. Here now. I'm taking Orlando Thomas.
Ooh, that. Now this is a deeper position than I thought
Mhm.
because I had 3 others that didn't include him.
Oh.
Yep.
4 others actually.
Yep. Okay, so we're back to me.
For 2.
Yep, for 2. Who do I want here? It's funny. I am gonna go with. I'm gonna go with the recency bias, Harrison Smith, safety.
Good pick. That was one of my 4 other ones.
I think he is definitely one of the top
Without a
safeties in
doubt.
Vikings history.
My only question would be is if you get another great one, do you have duplicate numbers
Right.
on your team? There's a hint for someone else.
So I'm gonna take him there, and ooh, do I take another? I've got one linebacker. Go with. I don't think he's been picked yet. E.J. Henderson.
He has
Good
not
pick.
been.
All
Yeah.
underrated
I'm going with
Viking
him,
for me for
linebacker.
sure.
Yep, I'm going with E.J. Henderson as linebacker.
Just so you know, the second spot stinks. When you got like 6 people you want to pick. And by the way, Topher, your pick 1 overall screwed up my whole draft.
You thought you were going to get Randall at 2?
No, I wouldn't have picked Randall. I would have picked Page. The problem is so I thought Topher was going to take Page, and so my list is all wonky now because
Because you thought I was.
dang it, guys. Do you go for your favorite player now, or do you try to make a smart play?
Your favorites are usually not ours, although this one I know who your favorite player is, so go and do your thing.
All right, I'll take him. Millard's my D tackle.
There you go.
Now, does this feel weird? Because before this show started, there's no way and you know where that we would ever thought we were drafting friends of ours, no matter how lightly we may use that term.
See, I may have drafted him 2nd overall, but
That's
when Randall was gone, it was like, well, Page is easy.
well, that's one of those. What season do you get? If you get Millard of 1989, good luck beating that.
Yep. All right, Brian, you get 2.
I got 2, and I don't want any of them. So I need 2 D tackles, a corner, a safety, a return man, and a punter. Fine,
Linebacker.
Oh, we got.
yeah. I don't know how bad I care about the linebacker position for that third one. Oh, what corner do I take? Recency bias makes me not want to take a guy that was pretty good for this team. Defense.
You don't like Mac Alexander?
I never did. I'm going to take Kevin
Demetrius
Williams.
Underwood.
No, I'm going to take Kevin Williams.
Oh.
Yep, he was the reason I didn't.
That's a good call.
I'm going to put him at one of my tackles. Henry was going to be my other one, so that stinks. I could build a Williams wall if I felt like it, but I don't.
Jerry Ball. Take Jerry Ball.
I just tell him to. I don't know. Did he play 3 years with us though? I think he did just that. Just tell him to lay down in the middle.
I know who you like. You like Shamar Steffens. Do that.
I do, but I'm not going to take him. I am the only one. I'm going to start and end the Shamar Steffen fan club. Oh, let's see.
The other guy's pretty good. Linval's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's in that mix too.
Yeah, he's not as good as Pat though. God,
no.
who's left? So defensive tackle, because Topher's got both of his. I got both of mine.
I've got
So
both of mine. Yep.
who are you choosing from? You're choosing from Pat.
I'm gonna go completely different, but I gotta figure that Eller will get the best out of him and make sure he runs the right way. I'm gonna get Jim Marshall.
He's the defensive end. You can't
There
get
you
Jim.
go.
Oh, is he? Okay, I thought he played
Yeah.
enough tackle. That's
Sutherland
fine.
and Gary Larson were the defensive tackles.
All right, that's fair. And I didn't, no disrespect, but I didn't want either one of them.
Yeah.
So I will, okay, scratch that. I wanted to convert Jim Marshall to a tackle. I will go ahead and build my Williams wall. I'll take Pat. Can't run on me now.
Yeah, I think
Pat
that's.
Williams.
Who else was out there, Brian, that you were thinking?
You pretty much listed them off for me. Linval would have been another choice. Otherwise, it's Millard and Thomas, and they're taken.
Hank, Williams. So after Williams, so who was the tackles in the mid 90s?
That's a good question.
So after the Williams wall, before Linval, who are we talking about?
Yeah, and the fact that I don't remember that disappoints me. Basically, it's
Stephens.
who played. No, you're thinking of who played next to John Randall. You're thinking of like Ezra Tuaolo in that group.
Yeah. Anyways, all right.
Where you're stuck with the days of Udezi and Erasmus James at the DN position.
Yeah,
Can he mix it in that group?
My defensive end group is let's see, who's the guy that took over for Eller?
Somebody a lot older than me.
Why am I
yeah.
Somebody's watching this video going, "Oh, you're so dumb. It's this guy." All right, so
It's your dad.
Since my dad's throwing stuff at the video right now.
Well,
exactly.
I will tell you this. There's a guy that I think qualifies as a linebacker that by the time I knew who he was, to me played more in a down lineman stance that I'm surprised isn't gone yet.
Yeah, there's two linebackers that I'm interested in, but I have two already. So because our cornerbacks stink, I'm going with Rhodes.
Yeah, see, that's just it. He was the next best corner available, but I can't escape the last season and a half out of my head.
Yep, I had to take Rhodes.
No, the cornerback position is definitely difficult. I need a defensive end, a linebacker, cornerback, and a safety. I am going to go with, I don't think he's been picked yet. I'm going with Everson Griffin as a defensive end.
Yep, that's a good pick.
Going Ev there. And then where do I want to go next? Going linebacker, safety. You know what? Another guy on All Brian team. He's going to prove some stuff. Robert Griffith.
It's a good pick.
And Robert Griffith, all right.
I just want to see him in the same backfield as Harrison Smith.
Yeah, we've heard Robert's assessment of him, so I want to see if it comes to life.
I need a defensive end. I need a linebacker. I need a safety. So defensive end, linebacker, or safety. There's two from the same generation, one at defensive end, one at linebacker. Let's you guys have all your defensive ends, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. This is one of those times where you want somebody else to pick linebacker first so you can pick the other one. I'm going to go with – we get to pick a special teamer later?
Well, yeah, return guy, yeah.
Oh, return guy. All right.
Well, sorry. Harold Morrow is not going to make your squad. Heath Farwell is not going to make your squad. Chris Walsh is not going to make your squad.
But Mike Merriweather may have then. Instead, we're taking Matt Blair.
Yeah, that was the guy that is a linebacker, but by the time I was watching him, they were putting him in a down lineman stance once in a while.
Mike Merriweather is one of my favorite Vikings ever, and
me too.
Matt Blair's just better than he is.
Yep. Not wrong, but by the way, I need one more linebacker, and you might have just cleared that up for me.
We have two picks.
I do. I need a safety, a linebacker, a corner, and a special teams guy. I'm going to they'll be an interesting group together because I've already got Browner. I'm going to join him with Paul Krause.
Actually, that's a nice fit.
Ooh.
So does everybody have their safeties now? Because I want to just list
Nope.
off the guys that weren't picked.
Nope, I have one left. Who do I have to choose from?
I'm not gonna help you that much.
Well, that's not helping. You're just
I've
listening.
got both my safeties.
All right, so I need my corners are just gonna be not very good. I mean,
Asher Allen is still available.
yeah. So is so is Macaulay. So is Chris Cook, whose only good defense came in a courtroom.
When he came out, that's right.
Yeah. Do I take a guy that was not a very good corner but had a great season because of the group he was with? I mean, Jimmy Hitchcock would be a pick, but ugh.
About Corey Fuller.
That he was up there, although I don't want to get in today's game, especially I don't want to get a flag for every hit that I make.
Yep. Oh, I know one you could choose. How about Fred Smoot?
Yeah, well, he covers what 70% or 30%. He can't decide depending upon which end of the cliche he uses.
See, here's the thing: he covers more than 70% because he gets whatever length of water is covered by the boat.
Fair. I'm gonna go off the board a little bit. And I'm going to take a guy who played opposite Carl Lee, also like Ahmad Rashad changes his name. I'm going to take Reggie Rutland as my other corner.
Reggie.
And what did Reggie change his name to?
Najee Mustafa, I think.
Lucky.
Rolls right off the tongue.
All right, so I have to draft a defensive end or I have to draft a safety, huh?
You do.
Let's see. The safety we have right now is pretty good.
He's also on Topher's team. Unless you like the franchise tag one.
Right, and that's the other.
Yeah.
The other. And we can't take the guy who was good, but now is good in prison. We've made that decision.
The look at me now, and purple and gold guy.
Yeah. He was pretty good though.
He was.
We liked him as a player. Let's see. I also have to get my defensive end, so I guess this is where we'll draft Jim Marshall.
There you go.
Fair. You'll get a lot of starts.
We'll get a lot of starts.
If he recovers a fumble, tell everybody else to start pointing.
I quick looked up the other guy. The guy I was looking for was Doug Martin.
Yeah.
Doug Martin had 11 and a half sacks in 1982. That was the strike shortened year.
Yep.
So that was the guy I was reaching for.
Number 79. He was pretty good. I thought maybe you were going to reach for Al Noga.
Actually, I had Noga on the all expectation team from
right.
Earlier. So.
What about a guy like Ray Edwards? Because he got to play opposite Jared Allen and just feast off the amount of attention the other guy got. That's the hope now. Whoever plays opposite Daniil Hunter, since it won't be Griffin anymore, hopefully they can just go eat.
Agreed.
I love it. All right, so now I need a linebacker, cornerback, and then we get into the specialty teams guys. I'm going to go linebacker, Eric Kendricks.
I knew that was going to happen.
Current squad.
Because again, the current linebackers, you can argue as a whole, are far and away better than a large crop of the history.
Yeah, I think he's up there as far as Vikings stats already, and he's still got some time left. And then cornerback, and we mentioned what a crazy world that happens after that. Sheesh. You mentioned him earlier. Guy racked up a lot of tackles in a period of time. Corey Fuller. I'm going to do it.
It's a good pick.
It's not bad.
Yeah, no, he was, like I said, him and Jimmy Hitchcock are in Vikings lore because of how good those teams were.
Yep.
So I'm going to blow past my safety right now, and I'm going to pick Cordell.
Okay.
Ooh.
As my returner.
For those that are watching, that's Dave Cook E's for Cordero Patterson.
Yeah.
He did not take Cordell Stewart. He did not play for the Vikings.
Right.
Flash.
Taking Patterson. He's going to be my kickoff returner. So now I have him and Percy. I've got the all-return team.
Well, so now I have to get a rules judgment from the two of you because I'm next for 2, and I need a special teams guy.
Yep.
I want Percy as my kick returner. Dave's got him on his offensive team. I can get him as my kick returner, right?
It's your show.
That's not fair. Dave, what do you think?
I'm with Topher on this. Your show.
All right, fine. I'll be nice to Dave. He can have Percy because there's only one Percy Harvin. A lot of Vikings fans are probably thankful there's only one Percy Harvin. So my return man question is, do I want Palmer or Leo? And I'm gonna stick with friend of show on this. I'm gonna go with Leo Lewis because if the locker room gets to be the same, then I got an extra wide receiver if my offense goes awry because Leo did fine there too.
There you go.
And so I have one more, correct?
Yeah, you have to get your third linebacker.
I do, and I'm just going to steal from Dave because I wanted him the whole time anyway. I'm going to take Mike Merriweather as my third linebacker.
Yeah, he's the one I was looking at too.
He made one of the best plays in like the second or third Vikings game I attended ever. I was at the one game where overtime was won by a safety by the Vikings. Thank you, Mike Merriweather. Vikings over, I believe, Jim Everett and the LA Rams. And I want to say it was 88 or 89.
He
Down memory lane we go.
He would pick
down memory lane.
He would be picked about this same spot with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right, and his numbers with the Steelers were a lot better than they were with the Vikes.
Yep. All right, so I have to pick a safety. And we talked about drop-offs, right, with other positions. So we've got all the top 5. So the top 5 ranked are Krause, Smith, Browner, Griffith, and Orlando Thomas. So here we go. My choices are Andrew Sendejo. So remember I said drop-off, right? Carl Kasulki, Brian Russell.
He was pretty good.
Jamarca Sanford. Todd Scott.
I like him.
Charlie West. Corey Chavis.
Hey, if you want, you're the draft bobo.
I'm the draft
if you
guy.
and Corey Davis just want to sit in the GM's office and talk draft.
Hussein Abdullah.
Yeah, Hussein Abdullah. Where's Vency?
He's coming. Madhu Williams.
Yeah, Madhu
Mistral Raymond.
Yeah, you never should be a D-back when your first name is Mistrail. That just sounds wrong.
Kurt Knopf. Dwight Smith III.
Yeah, that's another character guy you don't want. If you got him and Darren Sharper, you got the police on speed dial.
Daryl Fullington.
War number 29.
Eric Frampton.
Special teams guy.
Jack
it's Peter's brother.
Gopher, Jack Brewer. Vency.
Where's Ty Carter in this?
He hasn't come across yet. How about Willie Offord?
Yeah, I used to call him Willie Awful, like Elmer Fudd's voice.
So, yuck. I think, God, Brian's right about Brian Russell. I did like Todd Scott. My other safety is Orlando Thomas. So I need somebody that's going to hit somebody because that wasn't his strength. Boy, I like our guy right now though too. And since he's got CJ's ham, he's got his stamp of approval.
There you go. All right.
So
I like it. So now it's to me with
you need your return guy.
Do we all
I
just
need a punter and a return guy.
I was gonna say, do we all just need punters at this point?
Oh, punter too.
I need my. Yeah,
so you need
I need
a punter. And who's going to return it? Go ahead, Toph.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to go with return guy. I went with guys been kick returner, punt returners. There's all sorts of guys that have done this, right? Dave obviously got the guy scored most touchdowns, but I'm going to go with Qadri Ismail.
Ooh, the pocket rock.
I wanted to open the show with him today too because we talked about fan favorites that didn't really do a lot.
Right.
He was a fan favorite because we didn't get the rocket, but we got the missile. They're related. They must be exactly the same, right? Yeah, they were the same. They both flamed out pretty fast.
I thought it was
exactly.
Buster Rhymes for sure.
Hoo-ha!
We got you all in check. Now I'm going to go with my punter, right? So the first punter off the board, Greg Coleman.
Dang,
Nice. The Reverend. The Reverend.
And they have to be here more than 1 year because I kind of like the guy we have now.
Yeah, he's good.
And Reggie Roby never played for us. Who else is punters?
Oh, there's lots. There's lots.
There's a lot.
There's. If I wasn't going after you, I'd list some fairly good ones.
Candy bar guy.
Yeah, there goes one of my picks.
What was his name?
I'd say if you can't think of it, I get to have it. No, I'll help you out. I'll help you out. You're thinking of Mitch Berger.
I am Mitch Berger, Brian.
Yep. Berger. That's a good call. Mitch Berger.
You're welcome. So there goes my punter. But again, I'm not writing anything down. I just want to confirm. All I need is my punter, correct?
Yes.
My roster is full.
Yep.
All right. Well, because Mitch Berger just went, I get the eccentric personality, but the great coffin corner ability of Chris Cluey.
That's the other guy.
That's a good call.
You're welcome.
That's a good call. Chris Cluey is a good call.
So
I think.
who am I not thinking about? Because I was like Greg Coleman, and I don't know anybody else.
I thought Harry Newsom in his time was a good punter.
Oh yeah.
When they had Brian Barker, he was a fairly good punter. Colquitt, who's punting now, is a fairly good punter.
Right. I would have picked him, except he's only been here 1 year.
Right. Bucky Scribner, may he rest in peace, was not great, but had infamy because of his name was fun. You know.
All right, your boy Jeff Locke. How long was he here?
Jeff Locke, yeah, that was always interesting.
Have you ever been experienced? Locke experience. All right, you ready? Here's our defensive lines. Is that how we want to do it? Or you want to go by position?
Yeah, go ahead. Go with D-line. Your DN number 1.
Yeah.
All right. So defensive lines. First for Topher. Toph, you want to read it or you want me to?
Sure, I will do it. I got at the end, I got Jared Allen. In the middle, we got Randall and Henry Thomas, and then the other end, Everson Griffin.
Nice group.
Not too bad. Should be fun.
I think you're going to get some pressure. Allen and Randall, if you put them on the same side, that's going to be almost unblockable.
That's the hope. Lots of sacks.
Daniil Hunter, Alan Page, Keith Millard, and Jim Marshall.
Nice group.
I will get to the quarterback as well.
I like my ability to do this also, except for maybe one of the tackles. I've got Chris Dolman, Kevin Williams, Pat Williams, and Carl Eller.
You are going to be impossible to run against, though.
Right, and some pressure, and some pressure off the ends. I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, I'm not throwing against Topher. I'm running it. I'm running it right at Allen and Randall and just saying, all right, guys.
Linebacking cores, go ahead.
All right. So I got my linebackers. We got Jack Del Rio, EJ Henderson, and Eric Kendricks.
You've got all middle linebackers.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
They're all smart guys. You've got a nice group, but if you line them up as 11, you might have 2 guys going, where do I go?
They'll figure it out, though.
You actually have to play Del Rio in the middle because he doesn't have the range the other 2 do, right?
It's true. I agree. I play him in the middle with Henderson and Kendricks on the flank.
I've got no middle linebacker. I'm going with Greenway, Anthony Barr, and Matt Blair.
I like that group. I think Anthony Barr can play whatever you want him to.
Yep, and Matt Blair and Greenway are both good covers, and I got kick blockers because Matt Blair is a kick blocker.
Oh, I thought maybe you were talking about Chad Greenway's celebration because whenever he makes a play, he was the original kick blocker, if you will, before Everson and Daniil started that. Right. My linebacking core, I don't hate. It's fairly good if you like 80s and 90s football because I've got Scott Studwell flanked by Ed McDaniel and Mike Merriweather.
You have big players, big play city though. Eddie Mack and Merriweather made big plays everywhere.
Well, and I've got the NFL Films bit waiting to happen because Scott Studwell was the original Viking with blood all the way down his pant leg kind of thing. God bless you, Dave.
Sure.
So Jeff Seaman didn't get picked,
right? And he's probably one of the best ones.
Yes, he's the original Viking superstar linebacker.
Yep. There's some guys that didn't get picked. I thought maybe Carlos Jenkins would get a sniff. You mentioned Jesse Solomon before, kind of tongue in cheek, but wasn't bad.
Yeah, Dwayne Rudd again had a season.
Yeah, I think if we weren't dealing with the mental midget portion of Dwayne Rudd, he could have been a piece.
Yep, I think that's true in Vikings history as well, not just today.
Right.
If he would have
Well,
been
and
a little stronger.
then there were guys that made a name somewhere else and ended up here. You know, Broderick Thomas, Chris Claiborne, Dixon Edwards. You think of them somewhere else, and then they were here.
You know who else was more well thought of as our first conversation that he probably was Walker Lee Ashley.
Yeah, although he was more of a, I think of him as a special team stud. I think of Walker Lee Ashley the way I think of Heath Farwell. Like, oh yeah, he played linebacker, but that's not what I remember him doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Kylie Wong was borderline Pro Bowl, but we've all talked about what little that means.
Yeah,
Kylie Wong.
All right, your corners, Toph.
Corners, Carl Lee and Corey Fuller.
Love it because I hate the fact that you got Carl Lee.
and
It's your boy.
I'm calling for trades right now. Free Carl Lee. Free Carl Lee. It's a movie quote for
huge
anybody
trash.
wondering.
You got the best trash talker.
Yeah.
Corey Fuller is a Hall of Fame trash talker.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so the position I feel I have the greatest advantage of is cornerback, where I have Antoine Winfield and Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, it's quite good. This is my weakest position, even though I like both of these guys. I've kind of got the oh yeah group here because when they had their heyday, they had it. It was just short. I've got Dwayne Washington and I've got Reggie Rutland or Najee Mustafa, but I think he was Reggie Rutland most, if not all, the time here.
Yeah.
Safeties, Topher.
Did we miss anybody?
Safeties.
Who?
I'm sure we missed. I liked Audrey McMillan as a cornerback at one time.
He's been a good one.
Yep.
And Ike Holt was the one that probably would have been my next pick if I'd had to pick a cornerback.
Well, because then you would have had a punt blocker. You would have had a punt blocker and a kick blocker on your team with Ike Holt and Matt Blair.
Yep.
Where does Trey Waynes rank in?
That's another one
in that group.
What about? I still think Jimmy Hitchcock gets discussed because '98 was good and he was part of why. He was also part of why the years after weren't very good. What about, you talked about Antoine. That was another good team. What about before his leg snapped? Cedric Griffin was a pretty good, taller corner.
Yep, Ced was good. And I tease about Fred Smoot, but he was as good a cover cornerback as we've had.
Right. And those teams were so bad when your defensive stalwarts were Chris Hovan and Fred Smoot. Hovan on the line and Smoot in the back ish.
What about Captain Munnerlyn?
Yeah. Was a good leader on that team. I mean, that's that crew with Terrence Newman. When Zimmer turned anybody into whatever you wanted him to be back in his first couple of years.
Yeah. So safety.
Safeties. I got Harrison Smith and Robert Griffin.
Good group.
Yeah, that's
people are going to get hit in the mouth with that group.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of shoulder popping with those two guys.
So I have two ball hawks in our current cornerback Harris and then Orlando Thomas. Both guys who go get the football.
Absolutely.
But not the most physical.
I love this group for me, but I'm worried about the horse collar tackle rule because one of my guys will be screwed because I think he lived by it because his arms were stronger than anything I've ever seen. But I got Joey Browner, and that's Captain Horse Collar, and Paul Krause. I think I've got a pretty dynamite group there.
Yeah, a Hall of Famer and a guy that just felt like he should have been.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like we didn't forget any of them. We left out a lot of guys at that position, but we named them all because we were helping you get your last one. I mean, where's Vency? Where's Todd Scott? Although Todd Scott, I love because of his biggest play that made Ditka blow a fuse.
I think Vency's the next guy off. I think Vency's the next safety off.
And if he's never on the show again, it's going to be because he watched this and didn't get picked.
Right. That's why I'm making sure he knew that he was my next guy.
We loved him.
Yes. Yep, if we get to pick a coaching staff, he's my DB's coach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if any kind of front office thing, I want him with the microphone. He's so well spoken and understands the game.
No doubt.
But he was also a really good safety. And truthfully, if we could have taken off-field stuff out of here, Sharper would have been on this list. You just can't though. His off-field is so
similar with Dwight Smith. Not as bad, but pretty bad human being. With
good.
In the awful things that football players have done, it's him, OJ, and everybody else.
I'm not touching that. I'm going to keep my social distancing from that.
You don't want Ray Caruth third overall?
No,
Yeah,
I
Ray
don't.
Caruth is
Hey,
in that, in
what
that
about Ray?
discussion.
What about Ray Berry at the linebacker position? What about Jeff Brady?
Jeff
Oh,
Brady.
boy.
How about Greg Beekert? You remember when they
Yeah,
got Greg Beekert getting to save the day?
absolutely. I played back in the day. I would play in one slow pitch softball tournament in the fall per year, and it would be in September, and it would be during football season. So we would have our team, instead of wear softball jerseys, we would wear NFL jerseys. We would go football to the nth degree. We would wear everything but the helmet, basically. We'd even write our names in the lineup with the NFL player we were representing. And we had a guy who pitched for us who wore a Greg Beaker jersey. We couldn't believe it. We also had a left fielder who borrowed my Rick Meyer Seahawks jersey. The fact that I had that is embarrassing enough, but it was neat.
Yeah, that's a random pull at any conversation.
Another topic we should have another time. What's the worst jersey you ever purchased?
There's some.
Not now, Dave. Stop thinking. Not
Yeah,
now.
Dave's got those wheels turning.
Right, Dave's
I
prepping for
own
next week as we speak.
I own one jersey, so it would be easy enough to say Kevin Williams.
There you go.
Yeah.
So then our punters.
Yeah, punters. Greg Coleman.
Yep.
Get that pregame preach, baby.
Topher's gonna have a player. He's gonna be the only one with his punter mic'd up.
Right. Mine's gonna be a pitch man for Snickers.
Yeah, absolutely. And
That guy.
John Madden will be, here's a guy that when he kicks the ball far, he kicks the ball far. Mitch Berger, they love to talk about his Snickers bit. And there you go. You had your kickoff specialist handled in your punting as well. And then I got Chris Cluey, which his personality is eccentric. Let's hope he picks his battles because my locker room's already pretty interesting. But I'm going by ability here. It works for me. All right. So very last, as we wrap it up, head coaches. Topher, go ahead. Go first.
Return specialist.
Oh, return specialist is
return
correct.
specialist.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got Kadri Ishmael, baby.
The missile.
As pretty a guy with a football in his hands as anybody we've ever had. When he hit his stride, it was so much fun to watch. And one of the guys that I'll put in that same pile is mine, and that's Cordell Patterson.
Yes, not to be confused with his brother Cordero, who Cordell Patterson and Steve Gannon probably have coffee and Zoom meetings on the regular. I have Leo Lewis just as much to be a kick and punt returner as I do to be another wide receiver on my team. One of the best interviews we've ever had in this show, and diminutive but capable. We left a lot of guys out here. We really did.
Oh, yeah. They've had a lot of guys that have filled in or done the kick.
How did Marcus Sherrills not get on here? Yeah.
David Palmer,
yep. Marcus Sherrills would be the lead too easily.
Yep. Marcus Sherrills made a career, put his family on, helped his family for generations on being a reliable punt returner.
Well, and don't forget the offensive draft back in the day when this was okay, and now it's unheard of. Topher, you've got Anthony Carter, I believe. He was a pretty good returner. We got a postseason touchdown.
Absolutely.
Dave, you have Moss. When the Vikings needed one, they'd sneak him back in the punt returning group. Percy, etc. Yeah.
Percy.
So it happens. Darren Nelson was a kick returner for a while.
Yeah. I've got Adam Thielen, who I don't want to ever return a punt ever again.
Right. You know who we could have taken as a kick returner because when they used him at it, he was pretty good, but he never lived up to his expectations. Herschel Walker was fine as a kick returner for the Vikings.
It's true.
So there you go.
True. He's right up there in the kick punt return stats.
We left off Greg Camarillo. I can't believe it. I had to pull one random name for you guys.
You did too. Nice work. All right, so who's coaching?
All right, Toph, go ahead.
I got to take in my mind, there's one obvious head coach, and he was going to work great with my quarterback and with Bud Grant.
Yep.
Got you. He's easily the best coach in Vikings history.
No question. And I have a feeling if Dave drafts according to chalk here, I'm gonna end up with the debate that's been long lived. The first two are obvious. Who's the third best coach in Vikings history?
Yeah, so here's what I'm looking at. My quarterback, my running back, two of my three wide receivers, my kicker, my offensive line all played for one coach. My defense all played for the other. But I remember what Jerry Burns was like, and he was awesome. But that's not where I'm going. I'm going with Denny because Denny brought that team back from oblivion.
All right. I believe at some point when he's done, Mike Zimmer will be the third best coach, maybe second if he does some winning in Vikings history. but I'm not going there. I'm going to go with Jerry Burns because
Yes, you have the best quote.
I have enough 80s and 90s defensive guys that why the heck not? And my offensive team has enough characters that like to spout off. I need somebody that won't take any you know what from anybody. And that is Jerry Burns.
Yeah, Jerry Burns. That, Brian, you have my favorite pick of the whole draft is Jerry Burns at head coach.
There you go. And you know what? We certainly hope that guys that have been on the show like Henry and Keith and Vency and Carl Lee and Tommy Kramer, hopefully they watch this and hopefully they hang in there to the bitter end here. And hopefully that pick kind of makes them chuckle and maybe they can give us some comments of their favorite stories as they have on the show before.
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to have some of the greatest Vikings players of all time. And, Tommy Kramer is one that, again, when all the chips were down and, Francis was done, we knew we had a guy in Tommy Kramer from Rice who could step in. And some of his plays are some of the greatest Viking plays of all time.
Some absolute beauties out there for sure. And it's been fun to get to know the guys personally a little bit as well, which is really cool. Some really great human beings in addition to their Vikings lore.
Well, and not to mention, Toph, as Viking fans post 1976, we have no idea what making the Super Bowl is like. Being in Super Bowl Sunday with these Vikings, we got a pretty good verse in that. Pretty awesome.
What's fun for me, Brian, is the guy who made the NFL draft like in my blood. The thing I really, really like to do is also on our show regularly, and that's Keith Millard. So it's draft week, and Millard comes to mind. Millard and Dolman are the ones that said, oh, this draft thing is pretty cool.
Well, and I want to close with that because that'll segue into our next video. You don't have to wait till next Saturday to see us again. Thursday night is basically Dave has a birthday, as we all do, and we all have holidays that we enjoy. I'm curious if Dave Cook puts what's happening Thursday night ahead of all of that. I'm excited for it. Granted, it took a global pandemic to increase my excitement to the nth degree, but it's going to be an interesting night. I'm interested to be with Dave on that night just to see how giddy he gets over things that maybe I grasp a little or don't understand at all. I think for Topher and I, it might be fun to observe, but Thursday night, we're going to do a little draft coverage show as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. You guys will probably get tired of me by 25 minutes in going, I can't believe you picked that guy. This reason,
well,
this
reason. Let's just call a spade, Toph. Did it take 25 minutes today to get tired of him? Or?
No, it'll be interesting to see Dave in his element on Thursday of the NFL draft. Obviously, this year is going to be a whole new deal. They're going to be doing it kind of similar to how we're doing this program right now. Everybody in there, see who's drafting in their living rooms or in their bedrooms or how they got everything figured out. It'll be interesting.
I can only hope. Go ahead, Dave.
Drafting from a boat on the Bellagio. That's all I got to say.
I can only hope that Rick Spielman didn't do what I did and rely on his battery without plugging his laptop in and then have it go dead at about pick 22. Otherwise, it'll be the Mike Tice draft where the Vikes didn't get their card in. You know what will happen? Their computer will die at 22, and by the time they get the 22nd pick in, it'll be around 24, 25, and they'll just have to go back to back.
Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be something? That would be one of those historical in sports. You'll talk about the 5 or 6 strangest moments in sports, and that'll be in the top 1 or 2.
Absolutely. There's actually a pretty good story behind that. There was a good article in the Star Tribune, I think, last week about exactly what happened. It's really long and really detailed, but really fun to get the insight of it. But Thursday, fellas, that'll be when we reconvene. It'll be fun. This was a fun Saturday. Again, you guys are my best friends already, but, my best friends combined to my favorite topic. I need this every week.
Yeah, this is good for the soul. That is 100% true.
It's been a lot of fun. Fun doing these drafts today, as well as talking about Dave's birthday coming up on Thursday with NFL Draft Day. And I also quickly want to wish a happy birthday tomorrow to Joe Mauer.
I'm sure you do. That's a good way to wrap up the show. Topher, I was going to say until you made a terrible joke at my expense that I'll, make one with you at Dave's expense, at least with Dave's birthday coming up on Thursday. Finally, a birthday of Dave's that you and I won't get in trouble for discussing.
Well, there's that. We're doing it with him, though. We're not going behind his back and having any surprises. So
we're being as transparent with you this year as we can, Dave. All right, fellas. Thank you very much. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Leave some comments. What would you like to see us cover? Is this fun? Is this great? Is this terrible? Is this somewhere in between? I tell you what, I care about people's opinions, but right now I don't. Because, like I said, I needed to do this. We need normalcy. This is close. Thanks, guys.
Yep, makes for a very good weekend and allows us to have a lot of stuff to talk about during the week. So thanks, fellas.
Absolutely. We are the Northland Sports Page. That is it for this weekend. We'll see you Thursday night for the draft. Have a good weekend.